How's it going, everyone? This is Max here with Wealthier by the Day 6. Yeah, we're on day 6, almost a week of this. It's been going pretty good. So, I got three things I'll talk about today. The first one I'm going to talk about is the $400 I just invested today in the market. Well, I didn't get to invest it yet. The money hasn't settled. I acted too late in the day and the market's already closed. So that'll settle Monday, I believe. So I should be able to get that actually purchase some stock and ETFs come Monday. But I'll go over what I'm going to purchase with that $400. Not a whole lot of money, right? But you invest $400 a week for a long time, it adds up, and before you know it, maybe you're sitting on the couch and you don't have to work. I don't know. Or you're probably not sitting on the couch if you're proactive with your investing. You're probably, I don't know, doing maybe starting a little business or something. I don't know. The second thing we're going to talk about are my three biggest individual stock positions, which I'm not a huge individual stock investor, but I do dabble here and there. It's like educated gambling kind of. It's fun. It's fun, and there is potential for big return. And there is some, I guess, there's a science to it. There is. I mean, it's not just totally gambling. So I'll go over those three biggest positions. Actually, I think this is how they say three in Germany, I guess. So we'll do that. And then I'll also go over tip number three is going to be basically best 401k practices, at least in my opinion. And kind of if you're employed with someone who offers a 401k, kind of what I do. And again, this is not advice, this is purely for entertainment, all that good stuff. I am not a professional. But with that said, kind of what I do and what I think is a pretty logical approach to 401ks and the best kind of way to use your money in that sense. So those are the three things we'll talk about. I always forget to say this. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That I'm going to be putting out a video every day. I don't care if I'm dying. I don't care if I'm in the hospital. Every day there's a video coming, even if it's a 3-minute video. So I got some vacations coming up, so it might be a 3-minute video. But let's jump into it. So the $400 I just transferred from my bank account into my brokerage account today. It's in my standard brokerage account. That money I'm going to invest, and I think about this. I usually take 5 to 10 minutes to think about this. I don't spend a whole lot of time figuring out where I'm going to invest my money because, to be honest, it's $400 and I don't have time. I like, people will probably, someone's going to say at some point, like, oh, you need to do more research into the companies you're investing in. And you're probably right. But honestly, I use fundamental valuations. And if it looks right, good enough. I mean, I look at profitability. I look at earnings, like trend in earnings. I look like an increasing trend in price to free cash flow. I look at price to book value, obviously, because that's a really good way to figure out whether a company is more valuable than they're currently trading for, is looking at the book value of the company. And then typically I'll look at the dividend, just because, I mean, if I'm investing in a stock, an individual stock, I want to get paid a dividend, because if you're investing in an asset, you want to be getting paid from that asset. You want cash flow, even if it's marginal, you want cash flow. I'm not a big fan of investing in stocks that don't pay a dividend, essentially, because you're purely basing your investment on capital appreciation, which can get very close to speculation at times. It looks very speculative to me. So that real investing to me involves cash flow coming from an asset. Anyways, so I want to invest $100 into Jackson Financial, ticker symbol JXN. This is like a regional bank company I found when there was the big regional banking crisis. And this stock trades for a super cheap valuation. And right now the profitability is questionable, but they are generating tons of free cash flow. And it is so cheap. I think it's like a 0.33 price to book ratio, a forward price to book ratio, that it's like too good a deal to pass up. And it's a small cap company, which the most profitable companies typically are small cap value stocks. Those are the companies that typically perform the best. So that's Jackson Financial, ticker symbol JXN. Check it out. Do some research. I'm not telling you to go buy it, but check it out. The next stock is Citigroup, ticker symbol C. I'm going to put $100 into that stock. I think their price to book, forward price to book is like 0.44 right now. A super undervalued stock for a pretty strong brand name in banking. And I don't know, banking stocks, I don't see why any of them would ever go away. So I believe in banking stocks thoroughly. If you look at Warren Buffett, how's he invest a ton of his money into JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi. He bought a ton of Citigroup in the last couple of years. So I think that validates my reasoning for Citigroup. It's cheap, and I believe they're profitable right now. I know there's with banks, it's been hard, but it's just in the long run, I think it's going to play out. And then Paramount, ticker symbol PARA, I'm going to invest $100 into Paramount as well. And that is, again, a super undervalued stock. I was looking, Berkshire Hathaway owns like 17% of that company right now because it is so undervalued. Again, a huge brand name that's super cheap. Again, profitability is somewhat questionable right now, but I think it'll be fine. Citigroup and Paramount are kind of in the same boat to me. They're both trading super cheap. And in the long run, again, this is from doing not a ton of research, but I'm like, I think it'll play out in my favor. And I mean, the larger the sums of money you're playing with, I think the more research you should be doing. But I'm like, I'm investing $300 total into 3 individual stocks. That's $100 a stock. I'm not. It's not going to break the bank. I think they'll at least I think they'll at least perform at like a market rate. Like I'm going to get 5 to 10% out of them, maybe. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's enough to move the needle. I'm not too worried about it. And then the last $100, I'm just going to put into the S&P 500. That's I like the Fidelity S&P 500 index fund. That's ticker symbol FXAIX. And the nice thing about that is the expense ratio is even lower than ticker symbol VOO, which is Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF. So that's why I always go with index funds if I can, because typically the expense ratio is super low. So those are the 3 stocks I'm investing in. Plus you have one index fund. I won't mention that because index funds are boring and people don't care about them, even though they work. And honestly, at different periods of time, I will invest different amounts of money into individual stocks. I could have just as well invested $400 into the S&P 500. In fact, some people would probably argue that that would have been a more intelligent decision in the long run, and it's a lot more predictable than individual stocks. But so be it. I wanted to mix it up a little bit and inject some excitement into my investing life. Ooh, so excited. So we'll go to the second point, my 3 biggest individual stock positions. And these are not huge positions. Like I said, I do not invest a ton of money into individual stocks. In fact, in the last 6 months, I did a huge sell-off where I had a ton of overvalued positions. And I was like, I'm cleaning this up. I'm selling a bunch of stuff, a bunch of tech stocks like Microsoft and such. And then I redistributed the money into more of like value-oriented stocks. Whether it was a good or bad decision, it's arguable. Like Apple's my best performing individual stock position. I think I'm up like 150%. It's not a huge position, but anyways. So Citigroup is my number 1 biggest individual stock position. I have $4,600 in Citigroup. Jackson Financial is my second biggest. I have $3,700 in Jackson Financial. And then Ally Financial is my third biggest. I have $3,200 invested in them. And like I said, my individual stock positions are a very marginal amount of my money invested into the stock market in aggregate. Like most of my money is in index funds and ETFs. I've talked about this in past videos. I think that is overall the most intelligent way to invest for the vast majority of people, especially if you don't have a bunch of time to become Warren Buffett Jr. If you don't have the time to do a ton of research, then, feel it out. And like I've been investing in the stock market now for, what's it been? Like 5 years. 5 years where I've been very interested in it. And pretty much it's something I think about or learn about on a daily basis. I mean, I run the page Stock Masters. So every day, like lately, I've been making a post. So I do a tiny bit of research every day when I'm doing my posts. I look over numbers, analytics, fundamentals. Just it's a little deep dive every day. And then I also started a page called Stock Mania, at stock underscore mania underscore way a few years ago, and I actually sold that page for a profit. But so bottom line, I've been pretty involved in this for the last 5 years, where I'm on a daily basis thinking about it and learning about it. So after about 5 years, I feel pretty comfortable investing in some of these value stocks, because that's kind of where I've settled as of late. As value stocks, or if you're going to invest in individual stocks, play it safe and invest in profitable value stocks. Profitable being a key word, although some of the ones I just invested in, currently their profitability is questionable, but that doesn't mean future profitability is not possible. In fact, I think it's probable. So anyways, those are my three biggest positions: Citigroup, Jackson Financial, and Ally Financial. All three are incredibly undervalued stocks, which is why they are my three biggest positions. Value stocks for the win. Value stocks are the way to go. Just look at Warren Buffett. He's the best investor in the modern world. Because why? Because he invests in value stocks. He believes in value. So those are the three biggest individual stock positions I have. And the last point I wanted to make is best 401k practices. So I'll just do this real quick. One, if your employer offers you a Roth option for a 401k, opt for the Roth option rather than a traditional 401k. Sorry. Traditional 401ks, you will put money in pre-tax. However, all of your capital gains and everything you pull out once you're 55 and a half or above will come out taxed. I won't go into the details. You are better off paying taxes now than paying taxes later. In my opinion, this has to do with inflation, increasing tax rates, and just get it over with. Pay the taxes now. That's kind of my thinking. Just pay the taxes now, and then you don't even have to worry about it in the future, right? So if there's a Roth option for your 401k, opt for the Roth option. Sometimes if the employer matches like 5%, they will put 5% into the traditional 401k. Like, because if typically you'll have part is Roth and part is traditional. I invest 100% into my Roth 401k, but my employer puts my match into the traditional 401k. That's like kind of how it's split. So, and I believe traditional 401k and I think Roth are both, you can put into up to $22,000 a year. It's 22,000 or 22,500, I'm not sure, but that is a ton of money. That is, to me, that's a great benefit of working for someone else, is just being able to have a Roth 401k and have the potential to invest $22,000 into it. Like me, I'm not doing that. And this is my second point. I'm matching whatever my employer matches, up to like 3 or 4 or 5%. I forgot what it is. And then the rest I'm handling. I'm just taking the pay home and I'm using that money as I see fit, because I have more options myself through Fidelity, and I can put money into my daughter's 529 account. I can put it into my standard brokerage account, which is basically me and my wife's. We own all this. We're married. We own all this together. Just putting that out there. That's something to put out there. But yeah, like I only match what my employer gives me. But first point, Roth 401k if possible. Second, match whatever your employer is going to contribute, because you might as well. And then the rest of it, you can either put more money in if you want your money to kind of settle into that account. Me personally, I match what my employer puts in, and then I take the money and I do with it as I will. Plus, I don't have the potential, like I can't max out my Roth 401k at this point in time. I could and should set up a plan to slowly introduce more money into it, and try to beat down lifestyle inflation a little bit, because you'll live off of whatever is in you take home to an extent, right? I can't take home $500 every 2 weeks, or else I'm just gonna have to pull money out of somewhere else. But it's like if maybe you invest $100 extra into your 401k a week, it's like you're probably not going to feel that too bad, and you should be able to figure that one out and make it happen, so to speak. So those are kind of my best 401k practices. Roth option, match whatever your employer offers. And as long as you're doing those two things, and even if you're just doing the second thing, it's like you're golden. Just it's a great additional bucket to have some money in. And I mean, I've left a ton of companies. I just always roll them back into my Roth IRA at the end of the day. And sometimes there's tax penalties essentially that you have to pay if it's a traditional 401k, but I always try to roll it over into my Roth IRA if possible. So those were the 3 points of today. We went over the $400 I am going to, I guess, invest come Monday of next week once the market's back open. We talked about my biggest individual stock positions, and then we just talked about 401ks and some best practices in my opinion. And again, this is just for entertainment purposes. I am not a financial professional, but I do love finances. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'd love to help. Again, I only know what I know, but I've been pretty involved in this now for the last 5 years where I've kind of made it like a second job. Like I'd say a good amount of my free time outside of actually working my career job is I work on personal finance and optimizing my financial position in life. And then I train with weights. Those are the two things I care about as far as me personally as an individual. And then of course, I have my family and my extended family and the house I have to take. There's a million things, right? Life is always super busy, but love personal finances. So please leave comments, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more. They're just going to keep coming. Don't try to ignore them. Bye.